Greetings. Hi, I'm Dr. Stacy Worley, and welcome to our 24-25 academic year for our virtual community back to school mail summit. No more excuses. You're not like them. Listen, we have a host of power leaders from Cincinnati area, Springfield area, Cleveland area, the Dayton community. I am just so happy to be able to present to you some powerful men who are concerned about your future and want to see you excel. I'm going to bring them on. I'm going to start with our elder in the group, and he's representing the Dayton Africana Elders Council, Dr. David Kumba Greer.
Good morning to each and every one of you. Thank you, Dr. Worley, for inviting me to participate in this viable and this God blessed session of men of black colors. Uh, my brother's keeper, excuse me. Yes, it is definitely a pleasure and honor to be a part of this session.
Thank you, Mr. Greer, for joining us. And next we have Mr. Kenny J. Bozeman. He is a multi-talented entrepreneur, and I'm gonna let him just share all the businesses that he owns right now. Thank you, Kenny, for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Dr. Worley and gentlemen. Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here. It's an honor to have the opportunity to share with you guys anything that I could possibly share. I am the owner of Bose Image. I'm technically an image consultant by way of KJ Bose Couture, which is a men's suit shop and all the furnishings. I also am the owner of Bravado Blades Tonsorium. It is a 5-star grooming situation for gentlemen. I also have Timeless Cigars and the Timeless Cigar Lounge. It doubles over as a professional meeting space and then evenings as a cigar lounge. I also have a business called Enviro Clean, 20 years in of doing commercial cleaning. So I got my hands full.
Thank you, Brother Bozeman. Next, we have Mr. Nathan C. Phillips. He is an entrepreneur and he is a director of MBK Cleveland, Ohio.
Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome, gentlemen. Thank you for allowing me to share this space with you. Look forward to enlightening, encouraging, and inspiring all of these students to just do their best this year. Definitely.
Thanks, Brother Phillips. We have Mr. Chris Wallace. He is a president of MBK and MSK in Springfield, Ohio, and a mentor supervisor for Springfield City Schools.
Good morning, Kings. It's such a pleasure to be amongst some giants here. Can't wait to grab some knowledge and maybe share some as well. I love the fact that we're all here for one common goal, and that's our youth and our future. So I'm very excited to be here.
Thank you, Brother Wallace. And last but not least, Mr. Terrence Backus. He is the founder of T Talks Money and the president of MBK Cincinnati. Welcome, Mr. Backus.
Thank you. Good morning to everybody. Dr. Worley, thank you for inviting me to be part of this prestigious group of young men here today. I am very excited. As you mentioned, I am president of My Brother's Keeper Cincinnati, also founder and president of T Talks Money. I'm also author of a book called Financially Empowered, Achieving Success Through Sacrifice. And I just want these folks on the call today to understand that we all have sat where you sit and we are here for you. So if there's anything you take away from today's sessions is that we want to continue to invest in each and every one of you because you are our future.
Thank you, Brother Backus. And again, I got to pay respects to all of the sponsors who are here with us. We have the Dayton Africana Elders Council, MBK and MSK Springfield, MBK Cleveland, MBK Cincinnati, and MBK Ohio. And last but not least, MBK Dayton and Dayton Public Schools. I'm just happy to be with you guys, and we're just going to dig into it. We all understand life is all about the choices we make. And being part of My Brother's Keeper and being part of the community, we understand that there are 4 needs of every child: acceptance, significance, security, and purpose. And so let's just dig into this first question. where should a student start in order to have a memorable college life experience? And what should that student look for in a school?
I'll go ahead and start off. I think one of the first things that they need to do is get involved in campus activities, get acclimated into what's going on your yard, in your community around there. But best, especially starting within your campus, getting involved in activity, joining clubs, organizations, even some sports teams, recreation sports team if you're not actually playing sports, and building relationships with your professors. Don't be afraid to meet with them when they have their meeting hours. When they say, "Hey, my office hours are here," don't be afraid to jump in there and say hello and introduce yourself and create that relationship. And I think that would enhance both academic and social experiences as well.
Yeah. I'm also going to chime in, and I'll take it from a different perspective. I'll take it from you're still in high school and you're trying to figure out what you want to do with your future. I think it's super important that you really explore different universities, colleges, and that means sizes, that means location, geography speaking, and just understand like what kind of university could you see yourself fitting in at. So you really got to think about really the culture of that university. Does it have everything that you're looking for in the university? So I think that's super important. Then once you've had a chance to narrow down your list, I would say get out and tour those universities just to make sure it feels comfortable with you. Once you've made that decision that you are on campus, everything that you just heard is super important, that you take time to get acclimated to university, but you got to jump in and get involved. This is going to be the best 4 years of your, I would say, young adult life. And you want to make sure you are starting to craft and build relationships with not only the students, but the faculty, the professors, because these are folks that you're going to be able to turn back to later on in life and hopefully leverage if you need to.
Thank you, Brother Backus and Brother Wallace. I do want to interject, and we all know this, and we have to just stress it over and over again. We understand all of our young men and all of our young ladies are not going to go to college. And we have to gentlemen, you have to understand, it's okay if you want to go to a trade school. It's okay if you want to go to the military. It's okay if you want to go to culinary or just get a certificate somewhere or just start your own business. It is great to do those things. Just dream big, write it down, make the vision plain, and you will definitely be successful, providing you have the right people in your circle. My next question is, what are 3 key success factors for our students these days?
Well, first, and can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. This is David Kawumba Greer. Well, first, you have to hold on to your foundation of life, meaning that which has been instilled in you from birth by your parents. Those things that you have picked up as far as experience is concerned, and you have to also continue to be righteous in your way of living and the walk that you have as far as living your life and doing what God has instilled in you.
Thank you, Brother Greer. Anybody else want to chime in?
Sure,
Yeah,
I'd like to.
in there. Oh, go ahead, brother.
Okay, thank you. I'll be brief. I really want to share that it's important in today's climate, especially to understand the challenges of young people. The 3 keys to success and the factors that I think are critical, first and foremost, is the ability to stay focused. There are just so many options and choices out there. As you had mentioned, Dr. Worley, college is not always in these young folks' front window. Some of them are choosing to go as digital creators and all these other little avenues that they feel they don't really need college for. So I think it's important for them to stay focused and be disciplined. You do that by your team. So that's second. I say that, when you get on campus, if you go to college or just in high school, You want to really look for chemistry with others and looking for some comrades, someone you can have some camaraderie with, who will actually kind of keep you on path, as well as what you share with them. And then thirdly is this division. If you don't want to tangibly create a vision board, it's important for you to share your vision with those who would be able to hold you accountable. And so I think just the ability to stay focused, building a solid, strong team, and then being steadfast on your vision and holding yourself to it. Those are my three things that I think are critically important to make sure that you find success.
Three things that I like to share with my young men are: keep your goals personal. Keep your goals personal, because when our young men, and even us, when we have a vision, when we have a goal, we want to make sure that we're on the right track. So we begin to share it with people that are close to us, but they may not have ever been there or have a desire to go there. So their words of encouragement may not be there. And when they're not there, it could hurt, because it's coming from somebody that they feel they trust. But that person may not have that vision. That may not be their goal. Do not be afraid of that. It's just that that's not their path. So they may not know how to encourage you. And I'm talking about friends, family, parents, anybody. So keep your goals personal. And then number two is understand the circle that you keep. Pay very close attention to the circle that you keep. If the circle that I keep has shown no desire to go to college, go to trade school, graduate from high school, I have to reevaluate. And I want all of you this year to reevaluate the circle that you keep. It's not saying that we don't love them. It's not saying that we're not loyal, because loyalty is a big thing among our young men. It's not saying that. It's saying that if you want to go far with people that want to go far and are like-minded. The third is create new habits. Anything you want to do, you have to have created some habits to get you there. One of the habits I tell my young men during the summertime, right after we finish summer programming, get up in the morning, wake up at 6 a.m. and just stand next to the bed. We can't be late for school this year. Stand up next to the bed every morning at 6. Your body clock will then kick in eventually and create a new habit. Because if you can't get there, the battle's even harder. So keep your goals personal, understand the circle that you keep, and don't be afraid to create new habits.
I want to add on to that as well. I want to kind of reach out to those kids who are kind of doing those things, and what's their next step to when they actually follow what Brother Nathan was talking about there. Have effective time management skills. Once you've accomplished those 3 goals that he was talking about, and you are doing those things consistently, now make sure you manage your time management, prioritize your tasks, and manage your time effectively. So many times we get caught up when you're doing things good. People want to pull, even us, when we're good at something, people start pulling you to do other things. So we definitely have to manage our time when you're handling the base foundation of being an effective student. Number 2 is have strong study skills. That's to deal with if you're in school or not school. If you're not in school, whatever you're trying to do, if it's your profession, study it, work at it, be effective. All right. And utilize resources that you have, especially in the academic world. Utilize your resources. If you're in carpentry school and you know other adults that have been doing carpentry, pick their brain, get ideas, and grow in your profession. And the third, and I think we all need to hear this, I need to tell myself this all the time, is self-care and mental health. We have to take care of ourselves first before we can be effective in anything else and helping anybody else. So maintain a healthy balance, knowing when to put the book down and relax, take care of yourself, and seek support when needed. If you need some help in something, if you're struggling mentally, seek help. Don't try to battle that yourself. And those are my three: effective time management, study strong study skills, and self-care and mental health.
Thank you, gentlemen. I want to transition a little bit to this question is kind of geared towards Brother Backus and Brother Bozeman. It's not limited to those two, but I really want to hear from these two gentlemen first in regards to this question. What steps may a student take now to start building habits for a strong financial portfolio?
Okay, yeah. So I'll start off and say I have a real big passion around financial literacy because as Black people, we have to do better with our money management. So I would say, if you're in high school right now, like most of you are, the decisions you make with the money that you have is going to dictate your future. So no matter how much money you have to think about how you're spending that money, how you're managing that money. So I would challenge each of you to look at yourself in the mirror and saying, am I doing enough with the money that I have? And what I mean by that is, I know we live in a society where we're trying to keep up with a status, i.e., having the Michael Jordan sneakers on. While we love Michael Jordan and he's done great things for basketball, at the end of the day, he's not putting money in your pocket. So if you have enough money to invest in a pair of Jordans, you have enough money to start thinking about how you can build your own wealth. So if we change our mindset and say, instead of buying the Michael Jordan sneakers, we're going to invest in the company and become an owner. And you can do that in two different ways. One is by buying a mutual fund, which would have a Nike company as part of that. And we can talk about that off campus or off topic, excuse me. And then the other one is you can buy a stock. Nike has a stock out there. You go and spend that same money you would have spent on a pair of Michael Jordans, buying a Nike stock, and you're to see your wealth start to increase versus putting all that money into Michael Jordan's pocket. So that's my early take on it. I can get into a lot more of that if you like, but that's where I start. It's all mindset.
Thank you, Brother Backus. Brother Bozeman, you want to chime in?
Looks like no mouse moving. Dr. World, if you can hear me, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just going to speak. I can't hear myself. Something happened and I lost volume. I couldn't hear. But the three things that I would say that are really critically important when trying to really secure yourself from a financial standpoint of competency is one, find yourself a real tangible role model. I think we got to use our community. We oftentimes see professional athletes or entertainers, and we use those individuals as our source of motivation, but you can't pick up the phone, call them, see them, touch them. Find somebody close by in the community who you can observe to say, looks like they're living life pretty well. Sit down, have an engaging conversation with an individual like that and try to see if you can appoint that person as a mentor. We do that professionally. They're called CPAs and accountants, right? So in the community, just in your own network, you can find somebody, hopefully, that you see living life and getting the most out of it, and appoint that person, if you will, as your mentor. Secondly, I would say get in the habit of hiding money from yourself. And just the discipline of it. Sometimes the smallest thing, shoebox, tape it shut. Open up a savings account if you have the ability to do so, which you should. But just, taking a small percentage of what you get. I mean, some of you guys at this age may have jobs, allowances, or however, monies are falling in your hand. Have a discipline and a habit established where you actually take and put a little bit of money away from yourself, and then find the time that you're going to go in and take a peek and see what you have. It might be 6 months, it might be a year, it may be longer than that. But that's the second thing I would say. And lastly, I think that we have to really rid ourselves of the lust and the desire to have frivolous things. A lot of us, particularly in our culture, we oftentimes lust over things that are pointless to have. And I see so many people, not to discredit those particular fashion brands, but wearing the Christian Dior and the Gucci and the Louis Vuitton. And I mean, these things are costing $400, $300, $500. I do a lot of proms. And it's amazing when these parents come in and are allowing these kids to wear these shoes that are $700, and then they haggle about a suit that they don't want to pay $300 for. And so we have to actually just kind of mentally condition ourselves to not feel that those things materialistically are giving us the value, that we have to build our value on who we are in our character. So I think that those three things, particularly for an age-centric answer, are what I would say.
If I could just throw one additional thing onto that, is think about being a sponge. And what that means is always surround yourself with people who have more financial knowledge than you do. Because if you're the smartest one in the room, you're not learning anything. But if you're surrounding yourself with people who have a lot of financial savvy, you can be a sponge and learn from them, ask questions, because at the end of the day, we're only going to get better if we're learning. And we're only learning if we're around people who know more than we do. So that's super important. And that could be, to your point, accountants, tax folks, but it could be just someone who has overcome financial struggles and have been successful. Ask the question, how did you do it? How did you get over those challenges that you had?
Thank you, gentlemen. Anybody else want to chime in on this topic?
Invest in interview clothing. Just like, the brother said, our young people and some of us can spend a lot of money on, those items that he mentioned. And then when it comes time, that they say, Uncle Nate, I need a job. And, I try to set them up and get them on a job interview. They got to come back and say, I don't own a pair of shoes, actual shoes. I have tennis shoes. I don't own a pair of khakis. I've got sweatpants. All I own is hoodies. Purchase some button-down shirts, some khaki pants, and some shoes, because it's better to be prepared and not get an opportunity than to get an opportunity and not be prepared for one.
Well said.
And if I can add, Dr. Worley, in conjunction with everything else that has been said and shared, don't get caught up in the trends of society. Trends have a tendency to take us and lead us down a path that we actually do not want to be involved in. But we do that because we allow earthly measures to dictate those wants and those desires that we have a tendency to gravitate to. So just make sure that you don't get caught up in trends. It's okay to follow some things that are pleasing to you and amenable to you, but just don't get caught up in the trends of society.
Thank you, Brother Greer. This topic was not discussed previously, but I want to throw it out there because we all deal with it and see it day in and day out. What advice or to parents and students can you tell them in regards to the fallout of not being in school day in and day out?
I can jump on that if you like. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry about that. I oftentimes grab a group of kids and talk to them about the reality of the difficulty of school, because school is more so looked upon as something that we're expected to do as youth. I'm 48. I remember my 31 years ago, I was 17 and being in school and the acknowledgement of the fact that when you go to school is typically an expectation between 12, kindergarten through 12 that you go. It's not necessarily a choice for kids to go. Certainly some can, make it upon themselves to choose not to or skip school or whatever, but it's more so looked upon as an expectation to be there. And sometimes when we're expected to do things, it doesn't mean that the kids are going to put their best foot forward. So in essence, I say that it's important to know the challenge of school, especially 9 through 12. It's almost like in the real world, people are out and they work. They go to work and usually get paid weekly or bi-weekly. And they're anxious come Thursday to get their paycheck. It seems like they can't get paid quick enough. Well, the challenge you guys have as youth is Your job is from ninth grade to 12th grade before you really see your compensation. Your compensation comes at commencement when you cross that stage and you have avenues and opportunities that you've afforded yourself. So it's just really, really important. Again, we keep circling back to this, that your network, that your team, who do you have who inspires you? Who do you have who motivates you? Who do you have who holds you accountable? I mean, the best thing you can do is be motivated from within. That's not always realistic for some of us. One thing's for sure is you cannot do well if you are not present. And so, Brother Nathan had mentioned earlier with habits of getting up, standing next to the bed, find your way of knowing that you're going to hold yourself to making sure you're in the building. I remember being young. And skipping school. It wasn't nothing to do. All my friends was at school anyway. All I could do was watch The Price is Right. So, the social aspect of school is a great thing. It's a great time. That's where all your peers and friends are. So my thing is just really find the motivation and understand the discipline that it takes, and just know that you have a payday at the end of it all.
I would like to kind of add on to that. It's the company you keep as well. Make sure you're around like-minded individuals that want to be in that school. They want to be present. That hold each other accountable. I think so. I forget who said it. They said, watch the company you keep, and I think that's important. I remember I go around and in our group I'll be talking about what are your grades like? How many F's you got? Oh, I got 2, and they at the lunch table. I said, these your friends? How many F's y'all got? 2, 3. So all of y'all got the same amount of F's and y'all hanging out. Y'all need to go hang out with some people that got A's and B's and see how they are doing things. And so we kind of mix them in our mentor groups and our literacy sessions so they can see different study habits. So I think it's really big to be around people that like being in school. Like we just said, if you want to skip school, but all your friends is in there, eventually you want to go back to school. You want to be in that building where your people are. So if you're around people that want to be there, that's going to help big time as well.
Yeah, not just say that absenteeism is real. There are many reasons why our young men and women are not in school every day. But at the end of the day, the things that you can control, you have to be accountable for your own decisions to be there. And statistics show that your potential to earn the most financially happens when you are in school and you graduate and you go on and you further your education. Again, that doesn't necessarily mean college. It could be trade, it could be military, whatever it is. You have to get that education. You can't get the education if you're not in school. So if there's anything you think about, do whatever you can do to be accountable for yourself. And I love what the gentleman before me said, surround yourself with people who are getting those A's and those B's, because when you see the work that they put in and the results that they're getting from it, that's going to encourage and inspire you to do the same thing. If you're hanging around people who are getting D's and F's, and it's not because they're not smart, but it's because they choose not to apply themselves, you're going to fall into that trap. And before you know it, you're going to be making, $10 an hour after you graduate. We want to see you reach your full financial potential, regardless if it's college, trade, or whatever. But you can't do that if you're not in school.
I wanted to add, I'm sorry, y'all. I just wanted to add something on real quick. I wanted to speak to the parent, because we're talking about parents as well. What's an effective part for parents? And I think the conversation of school, activities that involve in school, even if it's, hey, let's go wash these clothes and make sure we got your outfits picked out for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Just speaking it into existence. The tongue is a powerful word. So a powerful tool, I should say, I'm sorry. So if you are talking about, hey, so Tuesday, hey, they having this for lunch. Do you want this for what you want for lunch? You don't want that for lunch? Well, I'll make sure I have that. And just making sure that it's an active, positive conversation, not dreadful. Like, well, you got school Monday. You better go to sleep. Let's go in here and pick out your outfit for tomorrow. Oh, I like that. That's gonna be fresh. Mr. Such and Such or Miss Such and Such might like that outfit. Something that tit for tat. Something that gets their blood flowing about school, but it gets them in the building. It gets them excited about it, and help them with their homework. If they got homework done, if they're on their skills, parents, and you're helping them get that stuff done and you're motivating them, it's a lot easier to go sit in that classroom if you got that assignment done and when you don't have it done, or you missing some big assignment. So stay in tune to what your kids are doing and what their habits are, and what their homework habits are, what's going on with their studies, what's due, when it's due. We all have access to that stuff now. During in progress book and stuff, parents have access. Make sure you're in tune with that and have those conversations with them, so that keeps it in mind.
I do.
Thank you,
Just
gentlemen.
one quick, Dr. Worley, can I have one
Yeah,
slide
go
in
ahead.
just to,
Go ahead.
and it's just kind of an industry specific issue as an outfitter. And I'm sorry, I've got to speak on it. Parents, this is more so addressing parents if they're on here. Got to be real mindful of turning the keys over to your kids too quick, particularly as it relates to wardrobing. I'm telling you, a lot of kids, and I know working in schools and being around, a lot of kids choose not to go to school, skip school, because they simply just don't have anything to wear. Or they feel like what they just wore the other day, the fresh clothes they got are already, my point is this. You're shopping for your kids and getting them set up for school from a wardrobe standpoint. Be careful with everything that has wording and branding all over it, because if I wore that on Monday, they'll know that I just wore that on Monday when I want to wear it on Wednesday. A basic solid pair of jeans, some khakis, some solid hoodies, solid shirts, things like that you can kind of mix and match. That actually helps stimulate these kids' opportunity to go to school and not be cracked on, or, I'm just being real. That's a real problem. That's a real issue where a lot of parents are letting these kids go to school with these clothes that are too loud, and then they can't wear them again because they just wore them, and now they just don't want to go to school at all. So please be mindful of that. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. That's a perfect point.
I want to add just some courageous conversation for our parents. And, I'm Uncle Nate, and they know, my young men and all of the parents know that I love them very much. My courageous conversation is to the parents: please understand that your traumatic situations cannot impact your child, this young man's situations. Life happens. And, we have a lot of single mothers who are playing mom and dad, have to put food on the table. They have a lot of responsibility. And sometimes, it takes a lot to just focus on keeping the house going. So therefore, the eyes cannot be fully on the young men. And then our young men are growing in an age where automatically they begin to smell themselves, get a little bigger, hormones kick in, and they think they are men when they're really just growing children, becoming a grown child. I say that to say, I have real situations where, mom or parents may be struggling, and that child feels compelled. I have young men that feel compelled to be there for mom and won't show up for school because they're trying to work and help pay the bills or help to not be evicted. But I want to share with the parents that our children are our investment. So to make sure that they graduate from high school is part of the investment, because they have a better position. They have a better opportunity to land a better position or a better future with a high school diploma. So therefore, check the grades, check the report that comes out that says they're missing an assignment. And then with words of encouragement, let them know, hey, you missed that assignment yesterday, not what happened last semester, not showing up to the school and then learning several assignments were missed, several days were missed, and then all of a sudden it's what happened. So, it's a challenge, but God built us to do everything that we can do, and we get it. For the Black families, it's not as easy as it is for everybody out here. So to whom much is given, much is required, and we got this. So I believe in all my parents, no matter what position you're in, just do that extra part to not be distracted and make sure that our children are understood as our investment.
Thank you, Uncle Nate. My next question, gentlemen, is how do we combat the mental illness stigma in our African American community?
My answer is really brief on that. It is, in my opinion, our elders. We have to, as a community, lean on our elders. There's really not too many new things up under the sun. Um, and I just have a really strong, vast interest in history and just talking to people who already have gone through the things that I have yet to even go through or I'm experiencing at the moment, even at my age now. So I think it's important for our young people to really kind of have somebody. It keeps coming back to community, man. I mean, I think that's so important with my brother's keeper and this call in itself is coming together as a community and being available. We are all way more knowledgeable than the individuals, the youth who are on this call listening to us and the issues and the things that they're going to be going through and the challenges that they feel like there's no out, there's no escape. We can give them about 4 or 5 different outs and escapes just off the wisdom we've collected in our years on earth. So I think that that's my answer is just really making sure that you guys put the respect and the acknowledgement into knowing that our elders, the older individuals you have in your life and around you, are typically going to give you the answers that you're looking for.
If I can springboard off of that, the significance of listening and learning from our elders is a very vital component of life. To listen and learn and observe from our elders, it's because they've gone through what you haven't gone through yet. So, what a better component and element to pick up and learn from based on the fact that they have gone through things that you have not even conceived yet. So make sure that you allow yourself to listen and observe to those elders that are in your life, going back to your parents who are elders, who have embedded in you those things that when you were an innocent child, they took the time to show you and express to you those things that they know are most advantageous for you as you grow and get older. Elders is God's gift to you for learning those things that would potentially become a hazard to you if you choose those things that are not embedded in his righteousness.
Thank you, Elder Greer.
I want to add, young men, no, trauma is real. Trauma is real. And in our Black families from back in the day, it was not a thing to go seek therapy. What happens in this house stays in this house. And out of those days, we had molestation and everything that was not talked about. And it hasn't gone anywhere. But I say trauma is real because a lot of our young men has gone through traumatic situations and it may not have ever been addressed. And trauma can be like rocks in a backpack. The more I get them, the more I have to carry them and not be able to release them or let them go. And then I'm around other people that have had trauma themselves. So we're producing trauma on each other with the little words like, a young man's go through something and he's just ready to explode. And the first thing some adults can say is, what's wrong with you? That is something that's a no-no in trauma-informed care itself. Why does something have to be wrong? Because that puts me on the defensive. So how we speak with our young men and how we help them peel that onion to release that trauma in order to grow is important. And trauma. And then we came out of the pandemic. We're still not fully, successful after the pandemic. That has put a traumatic situation on everybody, but it also removed the social emotional learning of our young people and us as adults. So therefore, they got to understand trauma is real. We got them going through some situations that are real, even at that age. So allowing that space for them to share, like gentlemen like us, they come and they entrust to share a lot of that with us. So we got to be very careful on how we help them get through it, and then the connections that we can help make with them in order to grow out of that or grow, from those situations.
Thank you, Uncle Nate. And as we transition, I want to throw this out there to you, gentlemen. And this is geared towards our young men in high school who are 18 years old, as well as our young men who are of age, legal age to vote, that are going away with college or wherever they're headed next. What words do you have for them in regards to exercising their right to vote, especially in the time that we're in right now?
It's unfortunate that civics was taken out of our schools all the way back to elementary school, because that would have allowed for our young people to get a grip on what politics, what the significance of civic duty would mean as they grew into a young people, and allow those things that is part of our society to manifest itself. So that was a detriment to our young people, because it did not allow for them to know that politics and the mechanism for voting and how important that a vote was, with it being their one voice, was to them. So the significance of voting is very important. And I'm always conveying that to our young people, that it is very, very significant that they cast their votes.
Yeah, I'll jump in, and I don't always get into the voting conversation, but when I think about what our young Black and brown are going through today, from a, being shot, we have a lot of people getting shot and killed. And, when I think about how do we make change, we have power with our vote. We also have power with our voice. So if we don't want the people who are controlling what they're controlling, we need to vote people out of office. We need to also take on occupations that we can actually impact change. So when I think about the police, we talk about the police quite a bit. We need to become police officers. As you think about what you want to do after high school, think about positions where you will have power to make change, so that we are voting people in office that will actually benefit us and not hurt us or take advantage of us. So I would say use the power that you've been given. When you turn 18 and you have the right to vote, go and vote for the person that you feel is most qualified to impact your life.
I would go as far as saying, when you're 18 and you are ready and you are registered to vote, pay attention locally. Pay attention to what laws and judges are being voted in right there in your county, because that is where you will get affected quicker than voting for a president. You can vote for a president, but you won't feel that trickle down like you will feel it if you vote a sheriff in, or a mayor, a city commissioner, or judges. I really would love our youth to start paying attention while they're in high school, what's going on in their community, so they can have 4 or 5 years of listening, seeing what's going on, and then voting locally, and then starting to grow from there with into the presidential selection. See tons of people voting here in Clark County during presidential time, but the Black community does not come out when the president is not on the ballot, and we got other things going on, sheriffs, judges, but yet we complain about unfair jail time and stuff that people are getting convicted of. But you had a chance to vote those judges in or out. So we need to start telling our youth to start paying attention locally and be excited about voting locally.
If I can slide in, well said, brother. I always like to try to see if there's opportunity to give these young people some peer influence. I think that also helps too. And we've got our Ohio's own Dayton, Ohio. Actually, we've got Yellow Pain. I would imagine that most of the young people are familiar with Yellow Pain. I've got 2 young people that I want to reference, and I'll share their link on social media or whatever with Dr. Worley, and we'll get that out to you guys how we can, if we can. But he does a really great job. He's actually become nationally acclaimed for his works in the creating steam behind getting young people to vote. The second gentleman, I meant to slide this in earlier when we were talking about financial literacy, is my actual son-in-law. He's an author, wrote a book called What in the Bleep Happened to My Money. It's a book targeted at youth, right there, you guys' age group. It's a phenomenal read, easy read, paperback. And I'll also be providing Dr. Worley with that link as well. Actually talking to him, he's going to do some type of a price reduction on that book if you reference MBK in purchasing it, speaking to parents and youth who might be interested. But to circle back to the voting situation, I think it's important to know this, and I'll leave it at this. The little e-cigarettes, those little electric cigarettes, you'll know the importance of something based off of the marketing agendas as it relates to demographic. So they were obviously coming up with all these crazy fruity flavors and all these things that would appease children, youth. All right. So think about this for the young people, how important the youth's vote is. Look at the they just had a performance. Kamala Harris just had a performance, and she in Atlanta chose Megan Thee Stallion to do her the performance at her speech. And I don't know why she did that, but at the end of the day, my point is she's trying to target a youthful audience. And so that's how important you guys' vote is, that they're literally spending time and money on making sure that they can arouse the interest of the young voter. So I just want to slide that in. That's how important a youthful vote is, that they are conscientiously putting people out there that would attract young voters.
Thank you, gentlemen, on that topic. As we go around the room, and I really want to get impact from everybody, and this is geared towards young men in the Springfield area, Cincinnati area, Dayton area, Columbus. What major takeaway would you like for these young men to receive from this conversation?
Well, if I can, Dr. Worley, jump in. They need to receive and accept what's real, that they are worthy. I know that they are impacted, and they hear and are inundated with things of negativity in society as they are growing up and going to school and experiencing those things from their peers. But they need to know that they are worthy, that they matter. The old cliche that is out there and been out there for decades, they are our future. Well, that is so true. And so we have to make sure that we continuously convey to them that they are worthy, they are loved, and they are a needed component of the cycle of life that was created by God. That to me is a very significant component and element that must be shared and conveyed to them.
Well said. And I will say that we are here because we care. We are our brother's keeper because we care about you. We, and I say we, I can speak for myself and a lot of the gentlemen on this call, we have overcome financial challenges. We have overcome poverty, but we did not do it by ourselves. We had people who helped us, who lent a hand to get us to where we are today. And to know that a lot of it goes back to we have to hold ourselves accountable for the things that we can control. But know that no matter what you go through, not only do you have God in your life and in your corner, you have each and every one of us there to help you along the way. So don't ever feel like you're doing this by yourself. You just have to take the step to reach out and say, I need help. I could use help. Can I talk to you? Use your voice, be accountable for your future, and reach out when you need us.
Yeah.
Right.
I think the major takeaway I would say is to especially listening to everybody and the powerful men that we have around y'all in our community, is embrace every opportunity for growth. Don't be afraid to embrace that, both academically and personally. And, for a college student, it's a unique time to discover your passions. Even if you're not going to school, getting out of high school, it's a unique time, right? When you get out, you got to take advantage of those situations, and building lasting relationships and lay a foundation for your future. That is a critical time, those first 3 years out of high school, whether you're going to college or you're picking up a trade or not sure what you're doing. Take advantage of those and make the most of it by being proactive, seek support when needed, and maintaining a balance between your studies and your personal life.
I'd like to share, understand and know that if no one told you yet today, we love you very, very much. And that's from the heart. And you got this. Just do your best. When you're up against the trouble, meet it squarely face to face, lift your chin, set your shoulders, plant your feet, and take a brace. When it's vain to try to dodge it, do the best that you can do, because running from it will not save you. See it through. You got this. In order to achieve, you got to believe and never deceive. The capability of any possibility for versatility is the best ability. It's not to change who you are, but to add on who you want to become. I challenge you to create a new TikTok. Show your cumulative GPA at the start of school, and then put in all the work you can and increase that GPA to show a cumulative GPA that's much higher. That's a flex for Uncle Nate. You want to get out there and be a boss. You want to get the money, you want to get the bag, you want to get the girls. Show that GPA. You feel me? Increase that GPA. I guarantee you. Can't nobody tell you nothing. That's the biggest flex. And I love it.
Sir. Yes, sir, Uncle Nate.
All right, Uncle Nate, I hear you.
Yes, sir. My takeaways from it are top 3 takeaways. First and foremost is I grabbed this just as a little bit of a token. I've been blessed with the opportunity, I would say, unfortunately but fortunately, to talk to people out of suicide. For whatever reason, the first thing I thought to do, I guess God put it on my spirit and my mind, my heart, to grab the globe. I've been fortunate to go a lot of places here. And one of the things that I would say is God's greatest gift that we gave us are the people that we share the earth with. And when you're going through tough times and hard times, you got to remember, I think it's close to about 7-some billion people on earth with a passport and about $2,000, where I think Australia is the furthest place away from us. Ain't nowhere on the earth you can't go. You can go and start new. So my point of it is, That's how serious life is that there's opportunities, vast opportunities for you to be whatever the heck you want to be. You can be whatever you want to be. You just have to actually put your mind to it and then put your work ethic to it. So don't ever feel like you're in a dead end and you can't make it and you can't go any further and you think that this is it. You can do whatever you want to do as you put your mind to it and your work ethic to it. Another thing that's important for our young people is to realize that the gift of technology and the internet and the Instagrams and the Snapchats and all that stuff, that's a great gift. You know, it's a great gift, but it also could be a little bit of a curse. Be careful and do not display your despair. Be very careful. I'll say that again. Do not display your despair. There are people who are not always happy to see you succeed. And I'm going to tell you now, one of the worst things that have ever been able to happen from a bullying standpoint and things like that is the internet. When people are putting someone's despair on there and everybody, you become the subject of everybody's laughter. So be careful injecting that in yourself and putting your own things out there. I see a lot of young people looking for sympathy online and posting bad things or that they're feeling in a bad mood and all that, looking for hugs and sympathy, because you got to remember, some people aren't going to give you a hug. Some people are going to laugh at you and put you down. So be careful with what you share is that. And then the other thing I'd like to say is, honestly, we are adult people, man. We are really resilient. If you pay attention, if nothing else, learn your history and just look at what we've gone through and what we've come through to be at the point that we are at. We are further along than people want to acknowledge, because there are a lot of people who steal and take and culture vultures. They take from our culture and monetize it. I'm telling you, we are adult people, man. We have really been blessed, and we have so many great opportunities in front of us. We just have to get out of our own way and link and bond together and help each other. So that's all I wanted to share with you. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, gentlemen. And to all our young men who are in Springfield, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Dayton, getting ready to go back to school, put your best foot forward. There are no more excuses. You're not like them. You can clearly see that there are men that care about you. There's a community that care about you. And to all the adult men in the community that are in Omega Psi Phi, Alpha Phi Alpha, Kappa Alpha Psi, Phi Beta Sigma, Iota Phi Theta, our Shriners, and even those non-Greek men who are concerned about our future young leaders. I encourage you to get involved in some of these schools. I encourage you to talk to some of these young men. I encourage you to make yourself available to them. I'm challenging you all to get with MBK Cincinnati, MBK Cleveland, MBK Dayton, Males of Color, any organization that supports our young men within the community. Let them know that you care about them and you're sincerely going to be consistent in the development and to the success of their lives. There are no more excuses. Welcome back to school. I want to thank Elder David Kumba-Greer, Kenny Bozeman, Nathan Phillips, Chris Wallace, and Terrence Backus for joining me for the second annual MBK Dayton I Am My Brother's Keeper Virtual Community Back to School Summit. Gentlemen, thank you. And to all the Qs, good luck, young man.